Let's move into the NFL. I want to talk about Deshaun Watson and his situation with the Browns camp. So, a report came out that he is going to be competing with Shadeur and with other quarterbacks on that roster. I really am blanking if there is other quarterbacks on that roster. I believe Kenny Pickett might be there. There is not a lot of competition going on in Cleveland, and I think that Deshaun Watson has the chance to become a starting quarterback again. We have to remember that a guy like Shadeur had a negative TD interception ratio in the season that they just had. They know what Shadeur looks like on the field, and of course that's in a Kevin Stefanski offense, whereas now it will be a Todd Monken offense, but I don't think that changes a lot as far as this quarterback and what he has shown us so far. Deshaun Watson, obviously in history, has had a 5,000-yard season. He has been up 24-0 versus the Chiefs. I like to reminisce on where he was in the past because I believed he was the best quarterback back in the day, but now he has had a significant fall off and hasn't looked as good since getting injured. This isn't really good for the Browns in any situation. Whoever is their starter, they will likely still be fourth in their division and still will likely be a top 5 pick in next year's NFL draft. I don't know where this team's going, and it comes down to that coaching hire where I believe they were able to just settle for Todd Monken. I don't think that the Browns had a very appealing job opening when their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, got fired, but I do believe that more people should have been interested, considering that they have the best defensive end in the NFL in Myles Garrett. When you are building a team, you need a piece, a starting piece, and it either comes from the quarterback or the defensive end. And you have that defensive end in Myles Garrett. You just don't have the quarterback. And I understand there's drama surrounding Shadeur and if he's going to be able to get this spot. I think that people need to really lend an eye to what they saw during the season because you can't deny what you saw. I don't think anyone saw any flashes. I didn't see any flashes personally. The flashes I could have seen were in that Pittsburgh game late in the season where he could have shown us that he is a great quarterback, but he did not. And I don't think a Todd Monken offense is going to change that. So when the Browns were hiring a head coach, they had to go out and search for absolutely everyone on the market. And Todd Monken was willing to accept this job opportunity, probably begrudgingly. It probably wasn't his first choice. There's just a lot going on in Cleveland where I know as well that they sent out this sort of test for the coaches to see mentally where they were. I mean, this is an organization that is just failing and has failed for a very long time and will continue to fail if they keep doing things like this. I think making this an open quarterback competition is the best thing you could do for Shadeur. And I think it is the best thing you could do for the organization from a media standpoint, not from an actual standpoint, by not admitting that you were wrong in signing Deshaun Watson. You are still giving that man a chance. And I just saw Stephen A. come out this afternoon and say that Deshaun Watson should retire if he does not win the spot. And I have to agree with that. You are likely going to have to retire or play in another league if you don't earn the spot. Because it will be another embarrassing year where you are sitting on the bench after you were one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league before all of your allegations. Just quit at that point. Take your money and go. Because you're not doing anything for this Cleveland Browns organization. They're just trying to use nostalgia and whatever else to justify you being there. I don't understand what's going on with Deshaun Watson, what's going on in Browns camp, that they would make this an open quarterback competition, but hopefully it makes Shadeur better. Let's move to our last topic, that being Kyler Murray and the conversation around the NFL draft. So the conversation has flourished that Kyler Murray could go to the Raiders as the Cardinals trade up to the 1 and the Raiders trade down to the 3. This is a mock trade that people have been going about and saying that it would benefit both teams. I want to look at it from both teams' standpoint and dive into why this wouldn't benefit both teams. For the Cardinals, this does absolutely nothing for your team. You're basically getting a guy after losing your OC and your DC that you don't know how he's going to fit into your system. You don't know who he's going to benefit off. I understand this offense has Marvin Harrison Jr., it has a returning James Conner, hopefully, and it has a Trey McBride, who was the best tight end in the NFL last year. But I don't think that Fernando Mendoza is going to flourish in an offense like this. I think that from an organizational standpoint, you have been failing, and I don't think that doing this is going to help you. Now, if you can get off Kyler and you are able to do it, that's great for you. But I think trading down even more and finding another team that would like Kyler would be more beneficial to you. You need more picks. You need more young players on your roster. You need to build this from the ground up. And it's the same reason I just had some pushback on the Browns having an open quarterback competition. Because you know both of those guys are not your franchise quarterback, but you're still having that competition. The ability for teams to move off of their quarterback when they know it's not going to be a franchise quarterback is vital to how this all goes. And let's talk about the Raiders side from it now, because when you don't have a team from Mendoza, you absolutely don't have a team that's going to be built around Kyler. You go from having Trey McBride to Brock Bowers. Okay, that stays the same. How about everything else in this offense? Well, Clint Kubiak came out about this afternoon and said that he wants an RB by committee, which means that Ashton Jeanty, he wants him to earn the spot for one. And he also discussed how it needs to be a two-headed monster where it's more split carries. He doesn't like the carries building up for the running back. He doesn't want to get Ashton Jeanty hurt. I'm wondering, where are you going to find that, for one? That's not on your offense right now. And more so, the offensive line being the problem. Kyler Murray can barely see over his offensive line, and he really has not been good for the Cardinals in these latest tenures. He's been painfully average, and I'm disappointed to say that because I once thought he was a top 10 quarterback. This would not make sense for the Raiders, who are trying to build a whole new team. I think that the Raiders would be stupid to trade out of their pick. If they are set on Mendoza, they need to stick to that plan and start having a plan to build off of that. This cannot be a last-minute decision, because to me, that says as an organization and where the standpoint is with the front office, you guys don't have a notion of what you want and what you don't want. If you want Mendoza, you stay in that pick and you don't listen to any other offers unless that offer is offering you a top 5 quarterback, which it is not going to. You are not getting a Mahomes, a Burrow, a Josh Allen, a Jalen Hurts, anything like that. I'm not saying all of those guys are top 5, but you're not getting any of those guys where you are right now. Fernando Mendoza is not valued by teams that way. But if you are going to sit at number 1, you need to stay there and not move out. You need to have a plan moving forward, especially for a coach like Clint Kubiak, who I believe after having one bad year, you will stick with him because you believe he is the future. So believing he is the future is investing in that future. A team that did this very well is the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, they had Geno for 1 year, who they knew was not going to get them to a Super Bowl. But what they did was they built the infrastructure around him so that he would be able to make a Super Bowl, maybe not win it, but they can make a deep playoff run based on Mike Macdonald building his defense. This same way applies when you're bringing in Clint Kubiak for this offense. He needs to build the offense, make it very good, and then as a front office, you figure out the defense, which already has an elite pass rusher like Max Crosby, so you already have a leg up. Seattle didn't even have that. So when you already have that leg up, you will be able to build from there. And hopefully, you won't have any misses in the draft. It doesn't make sense for either of these organizations to make this trade. I think that the Cardinals making a trade like that would be like making a trade like they did for Josh Rosen. And look how that worked out. Your team around you wasn't prepared to protect a guy like Josh Rosen. And I'm not saying that he couldn't have done better. He could have done better. But from that standpoint, your organization was not ready to take a guy in like that. The same way that Sam Darnold failed with the Jets and didn't fail with Seattle is the same reason you don't bring in a guy like Mendoza. None of these teams should even consider this. I think it is just a lot of talk, and it's exciting when a team has the chance to trade away the number one pick. So I think that's all the hoopla going around. Even teams that are interested in Kyler, like Minnesota, I don't understand at all. Why would you be interested in Kyler Murray? I'd be more interested in re-signing Kirk Cousins than bringing in Kyler Murray. That's how down I am on Kyler after thinking he was a top 10 quarterback for the past couple of years. You would not be good at anything in that offense. Justin Jefferson would be even more frustrated. Why are teams considering Kyler Murray for their roster? Even the New York Jets, you know he's not a franchise quarterback. The same way Tua will not be. It's playing the QB carousel, but I think that most teams have woke up to the fact by now that you need a franchise quarterback before you can win any playoff games. Or an elite defense, proven by this year. Because we don't know if Drake May is the franchise quarterback, contrary to him being runner-up MVP, because he had one of the worst postseasons. Bohenek, we really don't know. He had a great game against Buffalo. When you have one game as your sample size and your other playoff games are painfully average, we don't know. So you need to build one side of the ball and have it set. The Raiders are going to be able to do that with Kubiak. And however this shakes out with the Cardinals, they have to do it on both sides of the ball. So this year is not the year to go for it and not the year to insert a rookie QB. This has been episode 3 of the sit down for this semester. I want to thank you for watching. And if you liked the video, leave a like and comment below. We will see you next week.